Bryson, how much of your quest of distance is fueled by your distance envy of Kyle Berkshire?
All of it. I would say it's the most pressing reasons why I want to gain distance. Kyle's been a great inspiration to me, actually.
He's an awesome inspiration.
Unbelievable.
He's fun to do some stuff with.
For sure.
Okay, so take us through a couple of the things that you've found have really helped you increase your club head speed. It's been quite a little bit of a process the last 2+ years.
Huge process. I mean, people have definitely seen me doing a lot of the speed training stuff or swinging really hard for long hours. That's just a part of it. There's a lot of technique still involved in order to increase angular momentum and produce more club head speed. And so one of the things that we've worked on quite a bit is moving off the ball and almost standing up. So creating motion backwards. And then as I'm moving down and forward, I'm almost like squatting into the ground at the same time. And so that's one of the biggest keys for me in producing speed. Is the more I stay over the ball, the less speed I can produce. But the more I start really moving off the ball and feeling like my hands get high and I pull down, almost like a squat. I feel like this arm is held up here for a lot longer. I can produce this stretch recoil phase that allows me to then jump almost back and let the hands out to create massive club head speed.
Okay, so let's start with this backswing stuff, because I think this is super interesting. You're showing yourself getting taller, making a bigger turn. But a lot of people talk about using the ground in the golf swing, and they oftentimes talk about it in the context of like a downswing, but you're really using the ground like in your takeaway, like it's starting from the get-go, right?
100%.
So talk us through a little bit of that, because I see yourself really kind of pushing the ground.
So it's almost like if I was down here trying to jump as high as I possibly could, right? I wouldn't be here doing that, right? I would be going down and bringing everything down and pumping up. So when I'm here, it's almost like I go extend down, so the club almost goes out this way just a little bit as I go up. So you'll see me every once in a while when I'm really pushing hard, my arms will go like that. So I'm gaining this up and then pull down.
Very much like a Gary Player, Matthew Wolff, some sort of almost.
There's or even Rory. You see him doing this, right? It's a little move forward to create this motion backwards. So you can think about it as more of like a basketball jump. As you're running to get up to jump up to the rim, you're trying to really get down into the ground and explode off the ground. You don't want to just do that by doing that, right? You want to get down into it, let your arms go down, and then pump up.
And I think this is just, it's important. There's this reoccurring theme of trying to just be athletic, trying to really kind of create a lot of momentum from your ground, but having it start like early in the golf swing.
Correct. It has to. The earlier you can start that momentum, the more you can build up, the more you can add to that momentum. If I'm just here and I just take the golf club back, I've not utilized as much of the ground as I possibly could. I haven't stored or built enough angular momentum that I can or should to create a lot of speed. So there are things that I do just like this jump off, almost press off, that allows me to gain momentum backwards, a lot more momentum backwards.
Your backswing's a lot faster now too.
It is. It's definitely a lot faster. You can't be doing...
Trying to place the club.
No. It's still but it's stored and it's held up at the top. And then from there, it's this spiral. I feel like it's a spiral corkscrew into the ground. And right about here is when I feel like everything jumps back and off. Even though you don't see me like jumping with my head moving back crazy amounts, it's more of just a boom, explosion up.
So let's talk about that transition part, because I know that's been a big feel for you, is to feel the stretch in the arms as you start down with your body, and that helps you store energy all through your shoulders and then release it down to the club.
So as I'm taking it back, we've already talked about this. It's this elongation of the arms, this turning back. The kneecap is literally pointing backwards. That's an interesting one as well, to gain more hip range of motion so that I can take the club farther back. If I don't move the knees, I only go so far, but when I move the knee, like boom, obviously gain more range of motion.
You can see this ankle is actually, do that again, it's working a little bit this way. That's a great place to create power from.
Absolutely.
So it's not like you're trying to invert your leg. You're not trying to get your ankle.
No, not doing this. Nope. Not at all. It's definitely not doing this either. I'm not rolling the foot. I'm twisting the foot. All right. And so once you get up to the top, right, from here, I'm then feeling like my hips are rotating and moving a little to the left. You can see this left knee move across. So it goes, whoop,
A little
around the corner.
separation of the legs. Yep.
And then from here, I feel like my hands stay for about a millisecond longer. So you can see, as I go down, it's more of this. Everything stays up. The hands stay high.
But then they come down rapidly after that.
Yes, exactly. So it's like a whip at the top. You're loading it, and it pulls down.
Do that one more time.
Yeah.
And this is something I've noticed with your swing and Kyle's, as your body's starting to lower, as the hands are still working up a little bit, so it's creating the stretch as your body lowers, this goes up, and then there's a lot of force that gets put in the club.
Yep.
After you stretch those
And
muscles.
I feel like I'm almost putting my arm against my neck. So it's a weird feeling of, putting across my upper chest and neck. That just feels like it's this. And the more I can delay it, the more I can unload it and create more power and speed at the end. So those are the motions. Now you're not going to want to try and practice those per se in a sense of like stationary movement. Like, okay, I'm going to try and do this. It's more of you got to feel like you're implementing it into the golf swing when you're trying to make a fast swing. It's very dynamic. Yeah, you can't be trying to go, okay, I'm going to be here and then rotate harder. It just doesn't work. You got to, in the moment, in the swing, feel like it's a little, you're a little more patient at the top and you're trying to rotate harder at the right time. Obviously, if you rotate too early, too late, it's going to be a lot of timing when you're trying to make this motion. Especially for me, when I was doing it, it took me a couple speed training sessions to really feel like, oh, I've got a good understanding of how to load it, how to rotate, when to rotate, how to download the swing is what I call it. And then how do I then press out and off of it?
Now, when you're pressing out and off of it, where would you say you're putting force in the club? In what direction?
What's funny about it is I'm actually pulling the club back up and in.
Okay.
So that one helps square the face.
Yeah.
Two helps create, because if I'm here and I'm just pressing down the whole way, I'm not going to gain that much club head speed.
Right.
But if I go and pull and
starts to release that angle.
Yeah, arc the club back towards me.
Yep.
That's where I feel I can get the club head out. I can square the face, and the club head's going to be moving a lot faster.
Yep. And one of the things that you do, which I think, in my opinion, is it seems to produce a lot of speed as well as help with face control, is you get your wrist to be almost as much down as you can. You know, they call that ulnar deviation, but that feeling of the wrist fully down, the thumbs fully down, and it's almost like when you're demonstrating, your left shoulder is going up as your wrists are completely.
You have to. It's a back and in and up almost sort of feel for me.
And then this is fully down.
Correct.
Yeah.
If I kept this left shoulder down, I would never ulnar deviate it. I'd actually chunk it. So you have to be, as you're approaching the golf ball, almost pulling up. So it's a back up and in and pulling up type of motion.
That's awesome. Okay, so we were to kind of put this all together again. The upward motion going back.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting down into a jump squat sort of motion. It's a
up, full turn to the point where your knees actually turning out that way.
And the left foot the heel of the left foot can get off the ground. That helps me gain range of motion as well and get more weight to the backside.
Awesome. A lowering as your arms are stretching up that way, and then it becomes an aggressive down.
As I keep rotating, right?
Yep.
And then right about here, I would say, is when I start jumping up and off and pulling the hands around the corner, right? And pulling the shoulder up. Now you may hit it everywhere doing this for a bit, but you gotta know what speed is first before then you can start learning how to control where it goes.
Okay, let's see a couple real quick.
Yeah. So, and it takes a few swings to get comfortable with that motion. So one of the things I would encourage you to do is do practice swings first. Really trying to just then you feel comfortable with it, okay. I'm just kidding, I had to do that for you.
Yeah, do that
hit one for you. Caught everybody off guard.
I followed the Frisbee, I was like. Bryson, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Christian.